am Michelle Mazelleغ. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to share with you all this video clip and then we're going to come back and talk about it. So let's get into it.
Look at you! Look at you! Beat you like a bitch.
You prostitute! No, don't get out. They'll come get
I'm a
you.
prostitute.
Stay in here.
Stay where we
Stay in here. Stay right here.
We stay
Stay
right here.
We are right here.
Prostitute.
Okay? Who you dealing with?
Who you dealing with?
Huh?
Look at you. Back to Africa, Spain.
A dog you living on kiosks, living on people's stocks money and coming here and giving
You
people.
man.
This was a video that went viral either last week or the week before. And just seeing the comments and reading updated information, I believe that this lady has lost her job. I think so. That's what the rumors are saying, that she lost her job. And people have been pretty much talking about this video as far as the behavior of this nurse. And so that is the reason why she is no longer working at this particular doctor's office. Now, at first they said she was the doctor at the office, and then that segued into her not being the doctor, but she was the nurse. So there's just a lot of questions that I have about this altercation, what was going on, what led to it. I saw another video on TikTok where someone said it was concerning her not wanting to accept them as patients because of their insurance or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different speculations. You know, people always want to speculate about a situation, an experience, or whatever that they don't really know fully about. I'm also curious as to know what was on her phone. What did she record on her phone? Of course, she would be recording the man and the woman, the African-American man and the woman that was with him. But I don't remember, I haven't seen that video on any social media content. I don't know if she just decided not to post it or maybe it got taken down. Not really for sure. But I have not seen that video, nor have I seen any response from her. Now, not to say that it's not out there, I just haven't seen it. Now, there's really a lot to unpack with this video, and I'm going to try to do that. I think that it's important to really look at the entirety of what's really going on. The bad thing about social media now is that people are recording people at their most vulnerable state. They're also recording people when they are literally operating a lot of times, okay, or sometimes in really human behaviors. Because when you're in a situation like these two individuals where there is a disagreement, a conflict that's going on, neither one of the sides wants to back down. Both of the sides feel disrespected, so they're each going to be hurling out very disrespectful, hurtful, and angry words and phrases in order to make the other one back down. So, you know, what's happening in this whole situation is not anything that is uncommon when conflict is concerned, when it's coming from, you know, two individuals that are not seeing eye to eye on something, and the communication that should be happening is null and void. Now, what I don't understand, however, is that when people are seeing this video, that they don't see that there's two parties that are wrong in this video. I do wholeheartedly agree that if she was a Black woman from the United States and this would have happened to her, and this African-American man hurled disrespectful comments at her, called her out her name, and then she reacted to that, I do not believe that social media would have villainized that Black woman. She would have been justified in what she said. She would have been justified in her actions, and she would have been looked at a hero. If it was a Black woman from the United States and she was in this Somalian lady's position and she was hurling out these things in reaction to what he was saying, he would have been villainized. But because this was a Black immigrant, then social media wants to villainize her and wants to put the blame on her and take all the responsibility off of this African American man instead of the shared responsibility. Both of the parties were wrong in the things that they said. They were wrong in how they handled this situation. Neither one of them wanted to back down from the situation, and it didn't help in one way or the other. Now, I find it very troubling that nobody is really supporting or supported this nurse in this particular situation. If she was the nurse of this establishment, where was the doctor? Did the doctor not hear that this was going on? Was there someone else in the office? There is a lady that's walking behind her. We don't know where this lady is fitting in, if she works there, if she's a patient. She didn't step in on this lady's behalf. You also see a child in the background, which is very unusual for a child to be in a workplace. So that's another question, was what was the child doing there? Is this after hours? Is the child there for, it was after school or whatever. Later on now, okay, when she called him the N-word, now see, that's a situation where you're like, okay, you're going too far. We need to continue to have these conversations with some Black immigrants. I'm not going to say all, with some Black immigrants, as far as really, in any type of altercation, that's not a word that should be spewed out to describe an African American, because that's the word that people that don't look like us, what they spew at us. So I don't think that he said anything equivalent to being called that. The bottom line is that in order for there to be an honest conversation between the two groups, in order for there to be a bridge, in order for there to be some type of unified front, or whatever you want to call it, then when these types of videos circulate, or when someone posts these types of videos, as African Americans, we need to stop thinking that it's always somebody else's fault, and that we're not supposed to be held accountable for the things that you say and the things that the way you react. The only person that's ever responsible for anything is if they say something against an African American. African Americans don't feel like that they need to be held accountable, and that's an issue. And there are some people from the African continent who want to feel so close to the Black community, who want to have a relationship with Black people in the Black community. When I hear people from Black people from the Black community saying that people from the African continent don't like them, that's the reason why I tell them to just stop it. Because there were some people from the African continent that literally got on social media and apologized for this lady's behavior. I don't agree with them apologizing for this lady's behavior, simply because both parties are in the wrong. She was not the only person that was wrong here, and she should not be solely held responsible for the altercation or for the confrontation. It's not like this African American man was standing on the side of the road and she just started spewing out hateful things. It was clearly a confrontation between these two people. It was clearly an altercation between these two people. And when you are in altercations and confrontations, things are going to be said to each other that you would not normally say if you were not in that space, if your head was not in that space, if you were not in that mindset. Who knows what you will say when you're in that type of situation. And so in this particular example, where you have both parties clearly hurling out disrespectful and rude comments to each other, how can you honestly blame one party over the other? They both were recording, so that also shows that the lady didn't feel like she was in the wrong, because she obviously felt like she needed to get something that they were doing, and vice versa. Usually when someone's guilty, not all the time, but usually when someone's guilty, especially when it comes to social media, they're not recording anything because they don't want to incriminate themselves. So in this particular example, if she would have felt that she was doing any wrongdoing, if she would have felt like she was saying something that was, then she would not have picked up her phone to record it as well. And I think that's what people need to understand. She also was recording the situation. So if I know I'm doing something wrong and going to be villainized and demonized on social media, why would I record myself doing something? If I know I was not in the wrong, then if I know I was not in the wrong, I'm going to record something. If I feel like that I've done something wrong, I'm not going to record anything. So people not even taking that into consideration, that she also was recording on her phone. So she obviously didn't feel like she had anything to hide. So if that's the case, I don't know why people thought it was their place to demonize this lady and villainize her in the process, to the point that she lost her job. And then people have the nerve to celebrate about that someone has lost her job. If that child belonged to her, then how's she going to take care of that child? I mean, this is the situation that you have to ask yourself, because we know how it feels when people do things to African Americans, when people that don't look like us do things to African Americans, and then the African American gets villainized in the process. We know how that feels. And so I just don't agree with us making others feel that way, and us taking on the behaviors of the oppressors. And that's what some African Americans are doing. They're taking on the behaviors of the oppressors, but then want to be victims as well. You can't be both. Either you're going to be a victim or you're going to be the oppressor. And in this situation, I just don't think that there was really a victim. I think that they're both victims of the circumstance. And it's really sad that this lady, unfortunately, is the one that got the shorter end of the stick. The shorter end of the stick. I really hope moving forward that, more African Americans and more Black immigrants, people from the African continent, Caribbeans or whatever, that we understand that doing these things to each other and making each other look bad, and it doesn't do anything for us as a people globally. The whole purpose is really to try to get us to move forward together, and we can't really do that if we're doing this type of stuff. I mean, there's just no way that can happen. All right, that's all I have to say about the matter. I am Michele Mazelleغ. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.